Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. We got some breaking news at the UFC Vegas 67 post-fight presser, and that is that the main event of UFC 286 in London is Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman 3. We kind of already knew this was the announcement, but over the last month, people have been running rampant with fake MMA news, which we'll talk about in a second. But this video is going to be my reaction as well as my early prediction for Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman 3. And there was also another massive fight announcement regarding UFC 286 in London. Another fight. We're going to talk about that towards the end of the video. So first off, over the past month, there has been people non-stop speculating Kamaru Usman is injured out of the fight. And what there is there's these horrible fake MMA Twitter accounts and fake MMA Instagram accounts that try to find any bit of news, and they try to be a just super unreliable MMA news source, and they just post whatever they can do to get clicks. And Stephen Wonderboy Thompson did an interview, and there was like a line taken out of context saying that Leon Edwards was trying to fight Jorge Masvidal at 286, and that Leon Edwards was now fighting a different person because Kamaru Usman has a wrist injury and he's having surgery. And people were buying into this, and I told you guys from the very jump that I believed that Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman was happening at UFC 286, which is March 18th in the UK, in London. And there was nothing that was going to convince me otherwise. Then, about 2 weeks ago, there was an image that surfaced of Kamaru Usman wearing like a wrist brace, which you can go back and find like 3 months before he fought Jorge Masvidal the first time. He was wearing that wrist brace as well on a YouTube video. I think it was on Anatomy of a Fighter of some sort. It meant absolutely nothing, but again, people continued to speculate Kamaru Usman's out. Meanwhile, the fight's roughly 3 months away. Now it's, obviously, 2 months away. But at this time, it was over the past month, people were speculating. Kamaru Usman's out. Should it be Hamzat that steps in? Should it be Bilal? Should it be Jorge Masvidal getting another title shot? Which made absolutely no sense. If Jorge Masvidal would have got a title shot, I would have outright rioted. In the hypothetical instance, if Kamaru Usman was injured, what the UFC probably would have done, and I know some people are going to say, no way, they would have missed this. They would have probably turned that March card into a fight night card. And they probably, as long as Usman wasn't out for a prolonged period of time, aka 6, 8 months, a year, they would have probably just rescheduled it down the line and had Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards in London at a different event down the line, another pay-per-view that they would have scheduled, and UFC 286 would have no longer been UFC 286. It would have been a fight night card. That's what they probably would have done, because when a dominant champion loses his belt, especially when he loses it in the fashion that he did lose it, that's a storyline they can't pass up. They can't pass that up. That's going to be a massive fight. Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman 3 is a massive fight, and no other fight should have been an option. Kamaru Usman was active. He was defending. He was winning the fight against Leon Edwards. He lost in the last minute in a crazy head kick knockout. He deserved the Trilogy fight. And my initial thoughts about this, I'm super pumped for this fight. When you see a dominant champion lose, especially the way he lost, we need to see it ran back. Kamaru Usman won, 85% of that fight? He was winning on the feet. He was winning in the grappling exchanges. And outside of the first round where he kind of slipped, and then Leon Edwards ended up on his back for a bit, but wasn't able to really do anything, it was all Usman. Even in the 5th round, it was all Usman. He was controlling him up against the fence. He was taking him down, beating him up on the ground. He was lighting him up on the feet. He was pressuring him. And then Leon Edwards pulls off a comeback for the ages and brutally head kick KOs Usman in the 3rd round with less than a minute to go. What a story. What a performance. And now you have the narrative. It's the elevation. They're saying it's the elevation because of where it was in Utah. They're saying Leon Edwards' cardio wasn't there. That's going to be the narrative going into this fight. Even though Leon won, they're going to say he's going to do much better in this fight because it's not going to be at elevation and that Usman's not going to have the cardio advantage. And I'm curious. Leon Edwards, he fought Kamaru Usman way back when and lost. And then in the second fight, he was losing. But what adjustments is he going to make going into this trilogy? And for Kamaru Usman, I'm also curious, where is his head going to be at? Because sometimes guys get brutally KO'd like that and their chin is never the same. So there is a very good chance that Leon Edwards could brutally KO Kamaru Usman again. If that chin is completely gone, it could happen again, guys. And I'm very intrigued in this fight. I'm curious what adjustments, what style is Usman going to try to fight? Is he going to be grappling heavy? Is he still going to strike with him? I'm very curious, and that's what makes this fight so compelling. And there was people who didn't want to see Leon Edwards even get a title shot, saying Leon Edwards didn't deserve a title shot because of the level of competition he had fought. He had a lot of bad luck. He was one of the few guys that was willing to take on Khamzat Chimaev. He had a fight with Jorge Masvidal, who was top ranked at the time. Jorge Masvidal ducked him, and now they're begging for a title shot after the fact, even though his last win is in 2019 against Nate Diaz. But Leon Edwards went out there, took the belt off Kamaru Usman, and I am super compelled in this fight. I mean, this is a mega fight. And I know people are going to say Leon Edwards doesn't have a personality. Kamaru Usman doesn't have a personality. Usman's cringe, all that stuff. I don't care about that. These are two elite level fighters. Kamaru Usman has knockout power. We saw what he did to Jorge Masvidal. He has amazing grappling and wrestling skills and good ground and pound and amazing cardio. You have Leon Edwards, and I said going into that fight, people were doubting Leon Edwards. I picked Kamaru Usman. Don't get me wrong. I picked him going in that fight. But anyone thinking that Leon Edwards had no chance was delusional. I talked about that going into that fight. A lot of people were counting him out. And there's no way you can count Leon Edwards out in this trilogy. This is an amazing fight. Leon Edwards is so highly skilled. I'm curious what adjustments he makes going into this trilogy fight. And I'm curious of his game plan going into this fight. It's going to be very interesting. And is the cardio excuse a legitimate excuse? Is Usman going to outpace him in this next fight? This was the only fight to make. There was no other fight to make outside of if Kamaru Usman was going to be out for a year. There was no other fight to make. This is the fight that you had to make. And it's even crazier that now they're in Leon Edwards' backyard. Can Usman go out there and reclaim the belt in Leon Edwards' backyard? It's going to be super compelling, super interesting. And usually, the fighter who wins the rematch usually wins the trilogy. Historically, that's what it tells us. But this is a little bit different considering they fought so long ago. They were completely different fighters in the second fight. And Kamaru Usman won the majority of the second fight up until he got head kick KO'd. As far as an early prediction for this fight, I have to go with Kamaru Usman. It's hard for me to look at that second fight. And, you know, he zigged when he should have zagged. And I don't want to say it's a fluke. I don't think it was a fluke. Leon Edwards set it up perfectly, landed perfectly, and brutally KO'd Kamaru Usman and won it the belt fair and square. But I think Kamaru Usman's going to come into this third fight. He knows he has to win. I think he's going to be a lot less risk adverse. And I think he's going to be a lot more grappling heavy. And Leon Edwards has very good grappling. I mean, he's out grappling pretty much everyone outside of the elite grapplers, if that makes sense. You know, anyone that's not an elite of the elite grappler, Leon Edwards can out grapple them. And I'm curious, can he make those adjustments? Can he stuff those takedowns? But I believe that Kamaru Usman will come in. He'll have a very grappling heavy game plan. He was able to get the takedowns. He was able to get the clinch work and control Leon Edwards up against the fence a lot in this fight, or in this second fight. And I think he'll come in, he'll be super defensive, he'll be super grappling heavy, and I just have a hard time believing that Leon Edwards is going to find that shot again. But again, the mindset, the confidence of Kamaru Usman, the chin of Kamaru Usman, there's a lot of questions there. He may never come back the same, and he's getting up there in age. I think he's going on 36 years old. It gets to be that point in time where guys start to go downhill in their career. And Leon Edwards is still pretty young. I think he's 30 or 31. So this could be that point where Kamaru Usman starts going downhill and Leon Edwards is on the way up. And I think it's going to be super interesting. But I think Kamaru Usman, with the grappling, with the control time, my early prediction is that he gets it done and regains the UFC welterweight title. But I cannot wait for UFC 286 and that main event. As far as the other fight that was announced, there was some breaking news earlier today. I mean, there were so many breaking news stories. By the way, guys, if you're looking for a video about John Jones versus Cyril Gane, I'll link it in the end cards as well as the description. That came out earlier today as well. But there was another massive fight announcement for UFC 286 in London. I'm going to do an entirely different video on it. But that is Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev. What a matchup. Phenomenal lightweight fight. It's a fight a lot of people have been speculating about for quite a while. and it looks like it's finally going to happen. I'm going to do an entire other video. I'm going to react to that fight as well as give you an early prediction. As soon as it's done, it'll be linked down in the description as well as the end cards. But make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss that fight or that video about that fight. But at the end of the day, Leon Edwards, Kamaru Usman is going to be the main event. I'm assuming Rafael Fiziev versus Justin Gaethje is going to be the co-main event. And I'm curious, after Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman, after we get that trilogy, what happens next? Are we going to get a Khamzat Chimaev title shot? Where does Bilal Muhammad fit into all this? Is Colby Covington ever going to come out of witness protection? Where is Shavkat Rakhmonov going to be at that point? Because he's fighting at UFC 285 in March against Jeff Neal. So Shavkat Rakhmonov, he goes out there and puts on an impressive performance against Jeff Neal. Shavkat Rakhmonov is going to start coming into the picture. So it's going to be very interesting to see the welterweight division play out over the course of 2023. And I'm super interested in this main event at UFC 286. And I'm glad we're not getting any other matchup because I need to see a conclusion to the Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman trilogy. I need to see what happens in the third fight. Any other fight would have been unacceptable. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do not forget to like the video and check out those other videos that I'll link down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.